I read a quote that has completely changed the way I see life. 1/3 of people in the world will love you. 1/3 of people in the world will not like you. And 1/3 of people aren't gonna care either way. And it really just did astonish me because I realized, so many times I obsess over what people are gonna think, and I get so troubled when people don't like me. I'm like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Or if someone doesn't like my idea, what did I have? Did I have a bad idea? Some people just are not gonna like you no matter what you do, no matter how successful you are, no matter what you change about yourself. Some people are just not gonna like you, That's just the truth. And some people are going to love you no matter how much you change, no matter what you do. They love you for you. And 1/3 of people are just not gonna care. And that's okay. But here's the thing. No matter what happens in life, you're going to be stuck with yourself. You're always stuck with yourself. The only person that you are guaranteed to go through life with every single moment of every day of your life is you. You have to live with you. And what you believe about yourself and the words you tell yourself really do matter. They really do impact your life and its outcome and who you become. So if you're feeling anxious about what people think about you, or feel that to be yourself, to be genuine and honest and tell people what you really think will cost you friends, it's not worth it. It probably isn't worth it. If you're anxious that being yourself, that who you are will never be enough, friend, that's not true. If you've come across this video, chances are you're feeling a little bit anxious, and friend, I know that feeling so well. Recently, actually, I've been having some really awful anxiety, especially around the new year. It's January right now, and I thought I was going absolutely crazy until I realized that some of my friends were posting on Instagram on how they were feeling really anxious around the new year as well. And I had this really odd feeling of how beautiful it actually felt to know that I wasn't alone or crazy. And so often it is so easy to forget that you are not the only person going through this. You're not the only person going through anxiety and who feels a little bit ill at ease, who feels like they don't have it all together, shaking a little bit in your boots as you're going through life. But let me tell you something. Nobody, not even the most confident people in the world, know what they're doing most of the time. Like, they understand that things are going to work, but they don't go about life knowing this thing is going to happen at the end of the day. They don't go about life knowing how things are going to turn out, Things could change completely from one day to another. And those people that you think, oh my goodness, they're so confident. Friend, those people who are confident, sometimes it's a facade that they put on simply to give themselves a little bit of confidence or even to save face. They are simply acting upon their convictions and beliefs, but that doesn't mean that they 100% know what the outcome is going to be. So here, my friend, are some encouragements and some facts that have been actually giving me peace, and I hope will give you peace as well if you're feeling like this. And if you find this video helpful, definitely subscribe, like, and comment so you never miss a single video. Number 1, take a deep breath. So many times we underestimate how much a deep breath can actually help you, like, physiologically calm down. Because when we're anxious, our heart starts racing, our pulse goes up, we start feeling these really distressing little things that start irking us. But friends, I think that the most important thing that we overlook, and I know everybody says it, but it's true, take a deep breath. Because the one thing that is both like voluntary and involuntary in your body is your breath. It's the thing that you can just relax and never think about, but it's the thing that you can also consciously control. You can't consciously control your heartbeat. You can't consciously control how your stomach is working and how fast it digests your food and things like that. I mean, you can take stuff to help it, but it goes only so far. You can't actually think, okay, I want this to do that. You can't usually think, oh, I want my heart to go faster. But with your breath, you consciously can make an effort. And something that I've found incredibly helpful for relaxing is to actually breathe in twice. So it's going to sound really weird because I'm a little bit congested. I just got a cold. But basically breathe in twice like this. And then breathe out. Friends, that's actually been shown to be one of the best ways for your body to actually release those stress toxins through your breath. It's kind of just the way your body is designed to relieve stress and to let things go. Number 2 that I've found incredibly helpful is let go of the way you thought it would all pan out. So many times we get anxious because we think that life is going to pan out in a certain way. We had an idea of how life was going to pan out and it just didn't work out that way. And that's okay. In fact, I'm going to tell you something that's going to kind of rock your world. Things not panning out the way that you thought they would is often one of the best things that could have happened to you. I know that in my life, so many times when I was clutching an outcome, when I was trying to hold on to an idea or the way I thought something was going to pan out, I was actually I was pushing back the way that things were supposed to pan out. God wanted to let things pass, have things happen in a way that I couldn't see. And frankly, it always turned out to be better the way it happened. I would look back years later and be like, you know what? That was the best thing that could have happened to me. In fact, I feel like I felt more fulfilled because of the way that it happened. And number 3, it doesn't depend on you. So many times we think that we have to be superwoman in order to get people to love us. And then when we're unable to actually meet the expectations that we set for ourselves, and we don't realize that we set them for ourselves, we feel so frustrated. We're burnt out, we're tired, we're anxious, and we don't know how to keep going without feeling like we are less than or that we're not enough. But friend, your worth does not come from what people say or what you do or any of that. You are valuable and precious just because of who you are. And anxiety doesn't get to tell you who you are. Your stress doesn't get to tell you who you are. And your anxiety doesn't get to control you either, because you are more than your anxiety. You're more than the things that you do. So let that weight of being afraid that you're not enough and the anxiety of, oh my goodness, if I can't do this, then what's going to happen? And then you feel like your self-worth ultimately depends on what you can do and you're anxious when you can't do it. Let that slide off. And something that's helped me a lot is to really think, like, actually analyze my thoughts when I'm anxious. What am I actually worried about? What is the heart of what's going on? Like, ask yourself, why am I anxious? And then ask another question after that question. Just bury deep into the reason why you're feeling anxious. And I promise you, that soul searching will truly help you immensely and help you realize that you are 100 times more valuable than your anxiety wants to tell you that you are. Number 4, when you're afraid or anxious, especially before starting something, it actually means that you're on the verge of something beautiful and amazing. Often the enemy wants to distract us or keep us from that good thing. Don't let that happen. So many times I have been so incredibly anxious right before a really good thing happens. I remember I was in an acting class and I don't even know. I wasn't prepared for that. I showed up. I think I just signed up kind of by happenstance. I know now that it wasn't happenstance, but when I came into that room, I don't know why I was so incredibly anxious and so scared. And during that time, I just kept praying and I felt like the Lord was just saying, calm down. Be anxious for nothing, but in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Guys, that verse and just knowing that God was with me, it gave me so much peace. But guess what? That day, as I was taking that acting class, it was such a life changer for me. I was so anxious that I was like, maybe I made a mistake coming here and all this stuff. But that has been one of the most rewarding experiences in my life. I was on the verge of something beautiful and amazing, and my anxiety wanted to distract me from that good thing. So if you're feeling anxious and you can't even pinpoint why exactly, it's not something crazy different that you're doing, you may be on the verge of something beautiful. And the enemy wants to distract you and say, oh, look at your anxiety. Look at how much stuff is going on wrong. He wants you to focus on the lack instead of the abundance that is right in front of you, that you are right about to step in. So don't let the enemy steal that from you. You are capable of so much, and you have so much ahead of you. Your anxiety will sometimes precede some of the best seasons in your life. Number 5, your anxiety doesn't make you less than or weird. So many times we feel like our anxiety makes us strange, or that we feel like aliens because we're like, oh my goodness, I feel so anxious. Well, people are probably going to be staring at me. They think I'm weird. Why am I trembling? Why am I sweating? All this stuff. Scratch that. More people in the world than you would know struggle with anxiety. But the difference between the people who are confident and anxious, they just choose to do it anyway. They choose to do what they really want to do in spite of the anxiety. And let me tell you a secret. Sometimes when you act the way you want your outcome to turn out to be, like you say, my goodness, no matter what, I'm going to, for example, if you want to start a YouTube channel, no matter what, even though I feel so anxious about starting a YouTube channel, I am going to show up. It might be terrible, but I am going to show up because this is who I want to be. When you do that, your anxiety bows down to that conviction, to that faith that you have, to that decision, and you are able to do the crazy things that you never thought you would be able to do. And that leads us to number 6, which is do it scared, but do it. The best thing for anxiety and fear is to face it. So again, in that acting class, when I was feeling so frightened and I really wanted to just run out of the room, I was like, I feel awful. I don't know if this is going to be worth it. I could have run out of the room, but apart from the fact that I was like, I'm going to embarrass everything, because we were in a circle and I was like, I don't really want to embarrass myself by just running out of the room while the lady who's giving the class is speaking. I don't want to just run out and just embarrass myself like that. So I did it. I did it scared, so scared, but I did it. And we did the whole exercises and everything. You can bet your bottom dollar I did it terrified, but I did it. And you know, the anxiety completely wore off by the end of the session, by the end of the class, the workshop. I was so happy and so full of energy and so proud of the fact that I was able to do it. I did the thing that was frightening me. I survived. I faced it. And it gives you a very unique confidence that I think nothing can really replace. Number 7, act confident and your heart will believe it. Something that's really underrated is when you're scared, act like you're brave. Act like the brave version of yourself. And frankly, that's going to help you. So like pretend that you are the bravest person in the room. Give the appearance, put on that mask, because it does help. I took a lot of acting classes, as you can probably tell. And I kind of just envision what I want to become, the image I want to give sometimes. And that has helped me immensely in social situations. Like even right now, I'm kind of nervous, like in front of the camera. But what I do is that I just imagine, okay, this is what I want to give. This is how I want to present myself. But more than that, this is the people that I want to minister to. These are the people I want to bless. How can I bless them in the best way? How can I present myself in a way that will encourage them and will strengthen them? And so hopefully that is helpful for you. And if you're having a little bit of trouble with this, genuinely just imagine yourself, the best version of yourself, walking into a room or, doing something that only the confident version of you can do. And just kind of embody that. Think about it and just start acting like that person. And little by little, you'll see that the anxiety kind of just fades away. It kind of drops off you. And I found that this is really helpful, especially when you're in a difficult situation or in an immediate situation that you're really nervous for, whether it's a job interview or meeting someone for the first time or coming on a date, just be yourself, but be the most confident version of yourself, the version that you have in your head, the best version of you. Act confident and your heart will believe it. Number 8, I want you to realize that you are so much more amazing than you realize. You are a miracle. There is no one, literally no one on the planet like you. Your fingerprint is like super unique. There are unique tastes and perspectives and ways of seeing the world that are uniquely you. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can change that. And you are here in this world to make it brighter, to make it more beautiful for your being in it. The world needs you. So whenever you're tempted to feel anxious about who you are or yourself or the way that you're presented or thinking that you're awkward or strange or you just feel anxious, remember that you are a gem. You are a jewel in this world. There is no one who is exactly like you, who has exactly the same family history, who has the same background, who speaks the same language, who has the same way of viewing life, who has the same way of expressing themselves and creating things in the world. Only you can do that. And there are people who need your presence, who need the things that you create, the things you do, and will be impacted. They're waiting for you to do those things, to be blessed by you and your presence. And so many times we don't realize that there are people who are depending on that. If you're a writer and you write books, like, there are people who need to read your books and be encouraged in a specific moment in their life that your book is going to speak to them, and it's going to open their eyes to see something new and give them hope. Number 9, perfection isn't a prerequisite of life. So many times we think that perfection is the highest form of something. Actually, believe it or not, as a human, God is something separate, but as a human, perfection often keeps you from the best things in life. I will never forget this example that Yo-Yo Ma gave. He's a cellist, and I remember I was watching his masterclass. It was really interesting because he was talking about how at one point in his life, the summit, the pinnacle of success for him would be to perform the perfect piece. And he did it. He performed pieces perfectly. But then he realized, as he would be playing these beautiful classical pieces with absolute perfection, he realized that it was really boring. In fact, perfection, there's nothing beautiful about it because there's nothing unique to it. Perfection requires everything to be the same every single time that you play something, that you recreate something. What he realized is that the most human thing, the pinnacle of being human and of being creative, or of just being human, is to actually embrace the vulnerability, the beauty, the creativity that is uniquely human. Not gonna lie, there's a beautiful quote from The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, a play that I absolutely love, and there's a character who says, "I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately, but I play with wonderful expression." And he's playing on the piano for this part. And it's actually very funny, but it's actually true. The most human, beautiful thing is to hear the nuances that only you can create. Perfection is overrated. Sometimes the most beautiful things are the things that are vulnerable. Good stories, like the stories that you hear of someone's experience, are made richer because of their vulnerable points, those low moments in their lives that are so imperfect. Especially when someone is able to see the transformation that they were able to go through, it's so much more beautiful because you see that arc of what they were and now what they are. Perfection isn't a prerequisite in life, so don't put that burden on yourself. Don't allow yourself to believe the lie that you have to be that you have to be perfect in order to be loved or to be enough. In order to be enough, all you have to do is do the next thing. Just take that next step that you feel called to do. Whether it's, running a mile with your bigger goal of, running a marathon, running 1 mile. Do that imperfectly. Go ahead, do it imperfectly, but do it. The beauty is to do things in life. The only prerequisite in life is to try. The only way to lose is if you never try at all. Perfection isn't a prerequisite. And number 10, if anxiety about what people think about you is troubling you, let me tell you something. What people think doesn't matter, but what you believe about yourself does. I heard this beautiful quote from a book recently. Actually, it was a while ago, but it was called 10 Distinctions Between Millionaires and the Middle Class. And in that book, I read a quote that has completely changed the way I see life. He said, 1/3 of people in the world will love you. 1/3 of people in the world will not like you. And 1/3 of people aren't gonna care either way. And it really just did astonish me because I realized, so many times I obsess over what people are going to think, and I get so troubled when people don't like me. I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with myself? I get anxious, I get insecure. I think, what am I doing wrong? Or if someone doesn't like my idea, what did I have? Did I have a bad idea? Some people just are not going to like you no matter what you do, no matter how successful you are, no matter what you change about yourself. Some people are just not gonna like you, That's just the truth. And some people are going to love you no matter how much you change, no matter what you do. They love you for you. And 1/3 of people are just not gonna care. And that's okay. But here's the thing. No matter what happens in life, you're going to be stuck with yourself. You're always stuck with yourself. The only person that you are guaranteed to go through life with every single moment of every day of your life is you. You have to live with you. You don't have to necessarily live with your mom all your life. You don't necessarily have to live with your dad all your life. You probably haven't lived with your spouse all your life, but you do have to live with yourself all your life. And what you believe about yourself and the words you tell yourself really do matter. They really do impact your life and its outcome and who you become. So if you're feeling anxious about what people think about you, or feel that to be yourself, to be genuine and honest and tell people what you really think will cost you friends, it's not worth it. It probably isn't worth it if that is what you're worried about. And if you're anxious that you're not enough, what you think about yourself is going to have so much more of an impact on your life than what other people can think. You are special and beautiful just the way you are. So I hope that this is encouraging to you and that this has just reminded you of how amazing you are, and yeah, just giving you a little bit of a hug almost. Because I know anxiety can sometimes be super uncomfortable and it's not a fun place to be. So hopefully this has given you a bit of encouragement and a little bit of an energy burst to remind you how amazing you are and how loved you are. Until next time, continue to live, give, and repeat, and I will see you next time.